Welcome to Big Conversations by Ordinary People.
Thank you for having me.
Usually, I'll like everyone else, I'll just let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
So I can pick the whole perspective of the conversation from your introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Isaac Odongo. I'm a business development manager and marketing and communications. I dabble as a marketing and communications person at Service Corps, which is a fintech. I'm also an entrepreneur myself, a farmer, and a real estate person. I do have a hotel I'm working on with that up country, but also my passion is into the digital marketing, and not because how I grew into that was before COVID. I met a gentleman who was very passionate about digital and took me under his wing to teach me the wrong things I was doing and the right way I was doing. So, for example, the first time I was employed as a marketing person was with a tour and travel company, and this person asked me and said, "Can we reach out to all the CEOs in Kampala?" Okay, and the first thing I did was ask for pocket money and went office by office knocking on doors. I'll tell you, I didn't get business for a whole year.
Yeah.
Simply because I was selling the wrong thing. I wasn't selling what they wanted. I was selling what we wanted them to buy. Okay, so this gentleman comes through to this tour and travel through introductions. Of course, he gets to see me and immediately tells me, "I want to teach you everything you're doing wrong by doing it the right way." Okay,
Yeah.
but also save you time and money and expenses, because he said, "I am able to reach 1,000 people with $2. You're reaching 300, 400, 500, and you're spending a lot of money. So there's something you're doing wrong, and there's something I'm doing right. I need to teach you." So he took me under his wing, and from there, that's when the journey started. It was tough. Why? Because I went through a lot of mentorship. If you the kind of mentorship whereby guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars online, and you need to get on a call with them. Remember, these are guys in the US and the UK. Their time frame is different. So you'd need to stay up late in the night just to get on a call with someone. And these guys would look through your life and tell you, you need to stop going out for partying, you need to stop drinking, you need to stop doing all this
Did you believe that?
stuff. Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense?
For now, it does make sense. Why? Because when someone tells me let's go out and party, I'm mostly calculating in my head the cost-benefit ratio of that, as opposed to me sitting down on a course, learning that, and I know it's going to help me get more money over a certain period of time. So I'm always calculating in my head, like, should I go out for this? Unless it's a corporate party,
Okay.
where I know I'm going to interact with people, network, and all that. But if it's a social party of let's go to Chadondo, I'm usually in my head, the first thing that comes is like, no.
This is why you don't come
I'm going to spend money. I do not want to waste money. I can use that money for other things. Yeah.
Is this why you don't come for G League?
I will go for G League.
So,
I would also like to sponsor G League, but yes, I will come for G League. Yeah.
But it's a social event. But really, I
Yeah.
don't agree with the fact that I feel like that zeroes down to planning, right?
Yeah, sure.
If you plan to, like, you can include your social life in the busy life.
Yeah, no, my social life has been very bad. I would say that. Why? Because I'm always online looking for the next best thing. Like right now I'm trying to invest. 3 years ago, before COVID, I invested in about 15 companies. Okay, and when I was on a call with those guys, they were just starting out and they're saying, "Look, from what we are seeing, COVID is going to hit the world so bad. Like the world will never recover even after 10 years." And it didn't make sense at first. I mean, people have opened up their businesses. People have kind of stabilized. But when you see the number of people still who are losing jobs, when you see the number of people who are being replaced by AI, okay? There's artificial intelligence, then there's super artificial intelligence. Now, the US is just starting to use super artificial intelligence. If it hits Africa, it's going to be worse. And with super AI, what I mean is AI that can do work for thousands of people, factory workers, in seconds, okay?
Yeah.
AI that can drive trucks, like what Elon Musk, I think he has a contract with Pepsi right now. They're using his Tesla vehicles to drive the truck. So thousands of drivers have lost. If that hits the market, there's going to be a lot of high-end.
So wait, what you're saying here in this situation is, AI is affecting digital marketing.
Not just AI.
The future of digital marketing is affected by artificial intelligence.
Not just digital marketing, but I would like to look at the 6 pillars of a business, okay? Look at marketing, look at sales, look at customer experience, customer delivery, look at finance, look at people, right?
Yeah.
even mindset itself. There's an AI I'm testing that can do better work than a therapist.
I don't think so. So what really though? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's how I understand
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. So I feel like what we miss though is the fact that it's not here to substitute
True.
the human bit of things. It's just to like improve efficiency. Yeah. Like you still need to be a good prompter to like get the best prompts out of like copy.ai, right?
Yeah.
You still have to know how to really run code lines to understand Elon Musk's algorithm.
Yeah.
It makes it faster, it makes it automated, it makes it more efficient.
Totally
So
agree.
it improves work, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like the people who will get cancelled.
What do you say about hotels that are? I'll give an example. You can check out there's an AI called Predis right now, right? As from the meeting I was from, I was telling this lady that she does so much work. Okay, she's overwhelmed by so much. She's doing graphics, she's creating captions, she's going to post, she's looking for reports, all that, for all the people she's consulting with. And I told her, look, if you just had access to this AI, all you need to do is add the logo of the of the client, tell it what to do. So it has a little bit of ChatGPT in there, and describe the kind of graphics you'd want to see. Okay, then describe the kind of content that you're going to see. Then attach their social media channels and tell it how frequently you want to post this content. Then at the end of the day, it is also going to generate a report for you. She said, that's not possible. And I showed her the AI, and she said, wow. So all she has now is 5 free accounts. Her homework is, let me go add these people's work, share the briefs with them, share the graphics. And the beauty about it is you can edit what it has produced, right? So that means that these guys are going to stop hiring their graphics designers. That's one. Mm-hmm. 2, the copywriters, each of them has about 5 copywriters in-house, are going to lose their jobs. I've seen it, for example. I went to consult with a guy in the tourism space, and he got a client in the US. The client says, I'd like to write about Africa, right? Let's start with Uganda. I'd like to write about the food, the culture, the dancing, everything about the nightlife and entertainment. And he was paying about 500,000 shillings for these guys to write 10 articles per month. That's 50,000 per article. Now, when ChatGPT came through, he said, why do I need to hire all these guys? And I said, you still need them, because with things like ChatGPT will give you the same results if you're in the same geolocation. We've proven that one right. However, there are other copywriting tools that people have no idea about. Take an example of longshot.ai. I'm an investor in that company. Take an example of copylime.com. I'm an investor in that company. These guys have gone ahead to add even plugins in the software to show you that when we use this, 1, it's going to rank. So you have an SEO factor in it. 2, this article has never been written anywhere else. 3, they've put anti-plagiarism filters in there, meaning that even when someone checks to see if it was written by ChatGPT, it will not show. So when I introduced the guy to that, guess what happened? He fired the 10 guys. So while I agree with that, it's improving efficiency. I think it's improving efficiency for people who are appreciating it. Okay, because there are people who do not like AI at all. I've met so many of them.
And they're just not caught up with.
It's not even
yet.
It's not even that. I'll give another example to explain that. So every time, how often do you transact online with your card?
Very often. I happen to spend a lot of time in the nightlife. I also work
exactly.
so partly in the
So
night.
before you started investing, was there a fear?
Yeah.
Exactly. Now that's the stage most people are in. There is that fear of, what if this happens? It's like when you're transacting online for the first time with your card. What if money is stolen? What if someone gets my card details? Yes, money will be stolen. I've lost over $5,000 right now from the same bank with my card, and I understand. It took me time to understand, but the idea behind transitioning from fear to practice, to learning, to taking a risk, is that there's enlightenment. Okay, it's more or less the same like a person who's going to have sex the first time. Before you have sex, there's anxiety, there's fear. You're like, what is this? It's excitement until you have it, and you're like, wait, this is all there is to it. Wait, this and then you get to learn over and over with practice that if I keep on using the AI, it makes my work more easier and more efficient to do. But also, I know in the back of my head, I should know in the back of my head that I should teach others the benefits of using this, because at this point in time, the faster we do tasks, the faster we execute, the faster we get results. People look at, there's a saying that you're not paid for your time. You're paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. If I'm able to produce sales faster using an AI, as opposed to someone who's going knocking door to door, who are they going to pay more attention to? Obviously me. Why? Because I'm bringing in more results as opposed to someone who is every day knocking and giving excuses. You see that? So that's what I think of it, that there are two sides to it. There are those who don't appreciate it because they've not understood fully the benefits of it, or they fear it will replace them. There's always that fear. Then there are those who have used it, appreciated it. Usually these are early adopters, investors. They've gone into it and said, this thing is going to help. What is the future like with this? And have appreciated this, and they're getting to use it. Even with the digital marketing space right now. I would say in Uganda, there's very few companies that have fully embraced AI for digital. Why? Because they're still good with the traditional means of doing things, whether it's shooting, editing a video, whether it's producing video ads and things like that. There are very few that have, yet there are AI tools that do exactly that in seconds. And because they feel this is more traditional, it's more human-like and things like that, with time they phase out, they move into that space.
I feel like since AI works around a lot of data, it's easy for you to come to like a better decision, right? Because you're working with a lot of big data.
Yep.
And that's the plus it gives you as someone on the job. It helps you come to a better decision quickly and more.
Quickly, yes, but also we need to be very careful about how we use that data, right? So what most people don't know is that AI is exposed to search engines before they launch them. Okay, they'll just expose. They'll develop something in the lab and expose it to Google. They'll expose it to Bing. They'll expose it to Yahoo. They'll expose it to AOL. They'll all these platforms, and they'll just leave it to learn. Okay, just say go in there, consume as much data as possible, and learn. Then when it's reached a certain threshold, they can now say, okay, let's test this thing out. Create for us this. Create for us this. When it starts now learning, I've learned this somewhere. I can now use the code. I can use the algorithm to create it. That's when they monetize it. So we need, and what most people don't know is that we also feed information into Google. We feed articles, we feed blogs, we feed results, all this information. So if the information is skewed, the data you get from the AI is also going to be skewed. So you need to always cross-check if the data is actually correct with what is there, because ChatGPT has flaws.
Do you think that that's fair? That there's no thin line between data manipulation and what we are forced to like consume, right? So all these AI is using our data, right?
Yep.
Then to use the same data to just market back to our stuff.
I think it's not fair, but again, it's what most people are using to make money. For example, right now in the US, there's about 10,000 faceless companies, lead generation companies who sell data to companies like Google. I have access to one of those companies. If I said, for example, right now that I would like to know all the studios that do podcasts in Nigeria, Congo, Chiwatule, it's going to give me their data. It's going to give me your phone number, your email address. It's going to give me all your social media accounts, when you're last active. It's going to tell me a good person to work with as opposed to working with someone in Tinder. Now, that information would not have been easy for me to access if I did not have access to that AI or that access to that tool. So data, what you call data brokers, are actually a big business in the US. And most of them, I'm sorry to say this, but most of them get this data from insurance companies. They get them from your card. Every time you go and swipe, your information is going somewhere. So those act as data points that these guys can then use. Every time you're looking for a drug, use an app. Every time you feel a certain way, go and tweet about it. Every time you feel like you need food, go and use an app. You're giving information away. Let me ask you a very simple question. What's the first thing that always appears on a new phone before you use it, that if you do not accept it, you will not use that phone?
The terms and conditions.
Exactly, terms and agreements. It's the same thing as to when you're using a SIM card. You need to sign somewhere. Usually it's very small bits of information. You don't even bother reading. You just sign. Every time you're opening up a bank account, they give you a very long piece of information. You don't even read it, but you just sign. Why? Because you
I'm
don't
the
have
only
time.
person that reads every single terms and conditions.
There are actually many people. There's a guy who countered Airtel and MTN in court and said there's a flaw in the terms and conditions. Of course, there was a gentleman's agreement outside of court. But when they discover that, they're like, wait, these guys actually read these things. You see that?
Sure.
Meaning that when you sign, you've given them access to everything. It's a reason that's why I tell people that you cannot say they've not hacked you, but you've already given your information out. It doesn't matter if you go to the internet or not. These guys have your data. You've signed it off, and that's where data brokers come. It's a huge business out there.
Do you feel like the future is promising with the now existing automations, artificial intelligence?
I would say yes and no. Yes for guys who adopt them early. No for those who are refusing to accept it. I keep telling people this, that if you watch the movies, if you watch a series, be very critical about what they're trying to communicate. These guys don't just make a movie or series for entertainment. 90% of the time, they're trying to communicate something.
Yeah.
There are series where Uganda has been mentioned, right? About election fraud and all that. They're communicating something to you, and most times you'll tend to see that later on. I mean, if you look at things like The Last Ship, it was a series. It came out before COVID. COVID was acted out, or everything was done in relation to what actually happened.
But there's so many movies that had scenes
Look at the Terminator series. It's ideally speaking about AI and what it's going to do to the world. It's not saying that it's going to
where the
destroy,
machines rise.
but where the machines are going to take over the world.
Do you believe that?
I know it for a fact. In South Korea right now, they've invented a human being, not like actual human being, but infused with AI that can read news better than a journalist. I've actually seen it, and I'm like,
what do you mean read news better than a journalist?
Journalists usually read news from a teleprompter, right? Or a screen. What this thing has been trained to do was they would sit with a normal person to read out, and it would actually read out better than what was being presented there, and make it more believable using facial expressions, tone of voice, and things like that. Because there's a way journalists, for example, read out news, and there's a certain stature they need them to be in. But this added flavor to it. And they were like, if this thing reads news better, without getting tired, why do we need to hire a human being to do it? So yes and no. No, because
the
cost of it, but also this thing is going to be forced onto us, right? If you watched the Wakanda movies or series carefully, they are pointing to countries that are adopting this faster than other countries. Those countries are getting are moving further in terms of development than other countries. If let me just give a typical example. There's a reason as to why Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and other companies are situated in countries like South Africa and Kenya, because they adopt things faster. They see where it's going. They think, oh wait, this is going to help improve employment. It's going to help him. Let's get it on. Let's sign this thing right now. In Uganda, it's the opposite. You need to pay some money to somebody to get many people to agree to something, and these guys are like, no, we can't work with this country, let's move on.
So in this case, you're saying the government is lousy?
Not the government. I believe the systems and structures we've put in place have made it both difficult for investment, have made it difficult for things like that to help the country, right? If you go to Rwanda, for example, I was telling someone the other day that when you're entering the taxi or the bus, you don't pay cash. Use a card. Why? They want to find a way to reduce corruption. Here, you negotiate.
Do you feel like cashless reduces corruption?
I feel cashless increases but also reduces corruption, both ways.
What does that mean, increases or reduces?
Yeah, so if you can dictate how much you're going to pay. Like whenever you're using Safe Border, for example, there are certain times of the night when the price is up, the price is down. Price is up, who determines that? You see that? You can't say it's the AI. No, there's a system, there's an algorithm in place that determines that, right? So I think there's a level, in my opinion, there's a level of mistrust between people who say, why is it 10,000 shillings at 6 p.m. and at 9 p.m. is 2,000? Why? Is it because of the flow of traffic? Who determines that? There's someone who determines that, right? So we have to be careful about how we use it. So like I was saying, yes, it's good to adopt AI, but we need to be very careful on how we use it. It may be good, it may be bad.
Do you think it's biased?
No. I think these guys are intentional about what they want to achieve. again, a typical example. There's a reason. I'll give it a very simple example. There are international schools and there are the traditional schools. There are parents who are comfortable paying $10,000 a month, a term, for a child to go to international. They know obviously the level of education of that child is going to be higher than one of the traditional school. And I've spoken to both kids. You will sit down with a kid who's in an international. Of course, there are those who come out and they are into sexual whatever, all these misbehaviors and all that. But there are those who are very, very smart. You speak to a kid and you're like, wow, I wish that was my kid.
I think smartness is relative, though.
Yes, but what I'm talking about is level of IQ.
Do you feel like your chances of being in an international school increase your chances of being smart?
I think yes. I think I would agree with that. But also the environment you're in. You see?
So then it comes to like the grand scale of how you define smart, right? Right now.
Smartness for me, I would look at it from how you interpret situations, how you speak, how you.
Would you call Alien Skin smart?
Smart, yes. In terms of entertainment, he's very smart.
He has no attachment to an international school.
Exactly. But he's smart. Why? And he's street smart. I know where you're going with that. He's a street smart guy because he's understood the flow of where the crowd is going. Have you asked yourself why there are artists who have been in the industry for 10 years and never broken through?
Luck?
No. Sometimes it's not even
tenacity?
Luck. Not even that. It's usually one thing, just one thing.
What would you attribute to like
the beat? Let me give you a typical example. There are songs that have been written by brilliant minds, okay? The beat is not the best, but it's flowing, okay? Then if you listen carefully, there are songs that have a uniform dance hall beat and they just add flavor to it. Now, the smart producers, the guys who are managing Vinca, for example, have realized that and said, let's build something around this, okay? Let's play around with an instrument, let's play around with the Coke bottle, and they've just played around with that. Then they come up with a beat.
This is what you're saying, lyrics. I guess it's what Ashake is doing. Have you listened to Ashake's work?
I've heard of Ashake.
So he has, I think, work of art. He has that latest EP. Yeah. And I was looking at his reviews where the producer on every single jam just tweaked the same beat.
Yep.
Yeah. But because they're trying to sell the sound, so they're doing two things.
Yep.
They're selling the product of the sound very independent.
From the artist.
From the artist.
Yeah.
Right? So in the future they could sell the same sound through another artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why that brings me back to your question and you're saying, was it bias? I think these guys are intentional about what they're doing. There are artists who will be called upon to perform at parties, but you'll never hear their music more often. Their bank accounts are growing every day, and they're comfortable with that. The artists who are being called to perform at parties, being called to perform on big stages. I think they call them, is it the first act or something like that? They come on before the final act, right? And somehow 2-3 years the guy just dies like that, right? Now, the guys who have figured out the entire value chain of the ecosystem or of the entertainment industry are thinking like the guys who are inventing the AIs. Think like China, right? China will produce products for two types of customers, high-end and the low-end customer.
Right. Yeah.
Now, these guys are saying, let's have, out of an album of 10, let's have 4 or 5 tracks that are absolute bangers. The rest,
it's okay.
It's okay. We don't mind if it makes money or not, but these are going to make us money. These are just to be there. In case someone wants to do a performance here, it will make us some money. The guys who have invented AI have the same thought process. They're saying every time there are 2 platforms I know. One is called Delify, the other one is called, I'm forgetting the other one. But what these guys do before they launch their thing, they go into that marketplace, right? And they're looking for investors and they're looking for early adopters. An investor will say, okay, this thing is $90, okay, one off. I'm going to buy it, but I want to get on a call with the founder. And I say, guy, look, I want to invest in your company. I want to put in more money into it. I like this thing. Can I be an investor? I'm willing to put in $500,000 into it. And the guy removes the thing off the marketplace and now starts monetizing it, okay? Now, after monetizing it, there are guys who are going to see the thing and be like, this thing is not good for me. Let me use my traditional means of, and he will move away from it. Now, this other guy will come to Africa and say, okay, do you like this thing? Yes or no? The African market, and this is where most people get it wrong, that when these guys come to Africa, I don't know if you've ever gone online and tried to purchase something and they tell you it's not available in your region.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there for a reason. It's not that they're being racist. No. The number of customers they expect to get from that region are simply it doesn't make business sense for them. But if you went to Kenya, I've been to Kenya and I tried to purchase the same app and it was available. And it didn't make sense. So in my mind, initially, I thought these guys were being racist. But no.
And with the content tag,
yeah,
there's content that is accessible, say Super Sport, right?
Yeah, and I was like, wait, why is there this? And they're like, no, just from our data, Uganda is not. We don't have any customers or interest there. But you go to Kenya, you go to South Africa, you go to Uganda, you go to Nigeria, it's accessible. So it sort of bothered me and said, should I change my VPN now to make it look like it's from Nigeria for me to access? And it has worked. Sometimes it doesn't work, but it has worked. So yes, these guys, I would say, are intentional about what they want to achieve. And for them, at the end of the day, it's not just about money, right? It's also about impact. If you go to, like I was telling you about my mentorship.
Yeah.
There's a group it's being closed now. It was called the War Room Mastermind. Okay? These are guys who had made at least $1 million a year in net income, just $1 million. Okay, I was privileged through my boss to get into that. But if you look at what these guys were discussing, you had guys, the owner of Virgin Airlines in there. You had people like Strive Masiwa in there. You had very smart entrepreneurs whom we've never heard about, who are making a shitload of money in there. Guys in the Bitcoin space, guys in the digital market, guys we've never heard about. And the guy tells you, at the end of the day, you can make all the money you want. I've gotten married to a woman, big house, big everything. But I was not happy because I was always chasing more money. And now I'm not happy because she's left. And they will tell you what makes them happy is, like I was telling you as with the teenage mom before I came here, that is seeing how they use that money to help other people who are less privileged. People who make less than $1 a day. So I may not have supper tonight, right? But if I'm able to get 10,000 shillings and go and give to someone who's able to buy soap, buy maybe posho, and I look at how happy they are, that gives me peace of mind, as opposed to let me go.
It also leaves you hungry, right?
It may leave me hungry, but I can survive. I can survive on water. I can survive on Fanta. I can even decide to fast, right? But the peace of mind I go to bed with, knowing that if my life ended that night, I know I've left somebody happy. They can now figure out, because when you listen to the stories of these girls, man, you can get into tears, and some of them are being, the fathers are sleeping with them and all this. So it bothers me that, yes, there are charities out there who are practicing what they call charity porn. Go take a picture, post on Facebook, post on Twitter, and say they're impacting a life. There are other people I know who are getting funding from the guys in MMA in the US. You'll never see, they don't even have a website. But they're doing heavy work in Namungo. They're doing a lot of work in Nachiba. They're quiet, what I call quiet champions, okay? And when you interact with some of these guys are wealthy. But they're saying, man, at the end of the day, I know I may have a disease or not. I know I have this money. I know I have this big house in Muyenga. But can I come and spend time with these guys every weekend? Can I smile with them? Can we interact? It gives them peace of mind. And in a way or two, guess what? Those people who left them, their wives, their children, start to come back. Say, Dad, we heard you're doing something interesting. We want to know what it is. My husband was doing this. I want to know what it is. They start to come back. And which is why I keep telling people this, that digital marketing is going to move away from just getting likes, engagement, and followers and sales to a universal approach, a spiritual approach. Has someone come to you?
How do you mean?
Let me explain this to you. Has someone come to you with a deal that's worth maybe 100 million shillings, right? But your instincts tell you, I can't do this.
Your gut feeling.
I can't do this. I just doesn't feel right. That's where it's going to go. When you reach that level of understanding, then you know but it's more than just money to you. It's about alignment. It's about harmony. I've reached that level because I've worked with people so many times. You get on a call with someone, even when the person wants to do business with you, and from the tone, you're like,
I don't agree.
No, not the money is good, everything is good, but you say, let me go back and think about it. And in your mind, you're like, you even start to project, if I did work for this guy, this is most likely what's going to happen. They'll likely cheat you. 2, they'll put you in a lot of pressure. 3, they'll maybe pay you the first 2 months and disappear. before it just doesn't feel right. There's something fishy about it. Immediately I get that.
So for me, I believe since now we have like AI,
Yep.
and since once you present it with so much data, it can go through that data and help you come up with a really solid decision.
True.
Very informed projections for like the future.
Yep.
We'll not have to count on gut feelings anymore. Because you see, half of the time,
I
there's a
would like to
probability
counter
with
that.
gut feelings, right?
I'd like to counter
There's
that.
like a 50-50 probability on
Yeah.
whether your gut is correct or not.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's not informed from a perspective that has data to back it up. It's just how you feel, how a guy looks like, how they talk. Guy could be a mnyankole and you're like, man, fuck these guys. So that could inform how you do your business with people,
True.
right? But with AI, there's data. Yeah. All the decisions are automated. There's conclusive conversion from start to end of process.
Yep.
You are sure of what you inject and what you get out.
Yep.
So
I would like to counter
kind of
that.
spiritual.
Let's give a typical example of a website, right? There are websites I know that look very good, very beautifully branded and created. No single lead, no single customer. Day in, day out.
Yeah.
And the person is paying admin fees, he's paying for costs of plugins and all these things every year. Okay? It takes a very smart business owner, and I'll explain how the AI comes in, to look at this and say, this is not working out for me. And usually when they come to you, they'll be like, can we redesign the website? Subconsciously, he's telling you, can you design for me something that's going to bring me customers? Subconsciously.
Yeah.
If you're not smart enough, you'll not realize it, right? Now with AI, let me tell you why I said I invested in 15 companies. It took me 2 years to start using those AI tools. Yes, I did videos on how to use them, but actually using them to do what it took me 2 years. Why? It didn't feel right. Take an example. I've told you about an AI that does content, right? You tell it, I want this kind of content, add the logo, add the website, it will create for everything. Up to now, I just get the logins to this girl and told her, go learn, master it, learn how to use it. I don't feel it's the right time to use it yet. It's there, yes, I have a lifetime license to it. I speak to the guys once in a while. But telling me, guy, your account is, all it does is it measures my performance, right, on these platforms. But I feel it's not yet the right time. They change the layouts and everything. I've told her, go master it, learn how to use it, but it's not yet the right time for me to use it. I don't yet feel aligned to it, which is why I don't know if you've heard of investors that invest long-term and those in short-term. Someone described me as a long-term investor. I may put in money into something and I'll see the benefits even after maybe 15 years. It's when I realize it, right? I think that's how my mind works, that I'll see something, I'll say, okay, maybe it's just $100, I'll buy it. And I'll put
But
it
with
aside.
our economy, what's the guarantee that your mind will have the strength to keep up with that tenacity of like investing long term, where return on investment is almost close to impossible to be noticed?
So for me, why to answer that, I think I invest in things I know that are going to impact how the world is moving. Most of our decisions in Uganda are made basing on availability of funding.
Okay.
Availability of funding. That availability of funding is made by a person who is in a first world country. Okay? So our decisions, in subconsciously in a way or two, spill down from the other side, from the first. If the guys are implementing this, I remember you remark when they were giving out COVID jabs and vaccines, they started from that side.
Yeah.
It spilled down this side. When COVID started from that side, it spilled down. When the war started in Ukraine a year ago, it spilled down to Africa. Now African leaders. So there's a shift that something that's being done in the first world country, after a certain period of time, filters through a third world country like Uganda. So what does that mean? I have to start thinking globally, not locally. Meaning that a guy my age, I'm always thinking, what's a guy my age doing in the US?
Yeah, but isn't that one of the biggest issues businesses here have suffered, where
True.
they're implementing systems that Western solutions for African problems, right?
Yeah.
And that is something we've suffered with on like a big scale.
Which is why I said I'll invest in it, but wait. I'll invest in it because they're I mean they're so. I was looking at AI tools today that not just build websites but bring customers and even tell you how your website feels among different customers. And I was like, wait. If I start sharing this stuff with guys out, they're going to think I'm mad, right? Because someone will say, let me look at this website. Okay, I like the color, I like the tone, change this, change. That's the guy thinking from an emotional point of view. He's not thinking from a data point of view, because a data person would go on the back end of the website, look at how many visitors am I getting, right? How many visitors have read this particular blog I've put up? Where are they spending? There's tools that tell you where people are spending most time, where they're dropping off, right? And if I told a guy, look, your contact us page is getting more people's attention, I would like you to put it on where the home button is. He's going to say you're mad. But that's where most of your customers are. So you want to grab them where they're spending most time. Most people think you're mad because you're thinking from a data point of view as opposed to an emotional point of view of a guy who looks at the website. It looks good. Yeah, this is good enough for me. But when you look at your portfolio, is it bringing revenue for you? It's the same thing as when you look at a girl, right? If you went to, typical example, went to Acacia Avenue, you're going to have a drink, you'll find so many beautiful girls there. I'll tell you 99% of them upstairs are not okay. These are girls, they want to party. An iPhone is a must. You have to buy her a car. She will take shisha. For her, that's life. Okay? On a day, in a week, she has to go out at least 4 times. And her Instagram has to look good. She has to show you that she looks good. There are many of them out there. What I would call Instagram models, right? But what does it take for a guy to sit down with a chick, and even just the first 5 minutes you say, you know what, I can vibe with her. This one, immediately you're turned off. She may look good and everything on the stuff, but you're turned off. Now that's how I look at things. That I don't just look at something so good looking on the surface. I want to know what's like. I want to dig deep. And so what's that one thing that I've met so many smart ladies, for example, who totally dress just off, right? Tattered jeans. They are trying to put out signals to send off guys, okay? And yet, me, a smart guy, I want to know more. I want to see what makes her tick. Yeah. When she writes something on Facebook, what brought that thought process? I want to know, what is she made of? What's that one thing? And I usually want to surround myself with such people. They may not look good. Some of them have earrings here, lipstick. The nails are like for egos and stuff. But me, as a person, I know where I'm hanging out with them. They elevate you. Okay?
So you hang out with hoes a lot?
Not hoes. I wouldn't call them hoes.
I
wouldn't call them
everything
hoes.
you've described.
No, they are not hoes. They are not hoes. A hoe is someone who does a certain practice in certain things.
Yeah, well, the women you talked about are women on Instagram, and literally almost Instagram is designed to hoe women, right?
The Instagram algorithm is not made of hoes.
It's
designed.
It's still the best way to sell some pussy.
It's designed basing on what you search for.
And most people go to Instagram to search for bikini pictures.
Why do you find
exactly?
Why do you find that when you go, for example, to a certain page, and the entire page has thighs, ass, and all that? Why do you think the followers are so many? And 99% of them are guys, because that's what the guys are searching for. Exactly. But there are also pages I've seen of women, of men who speak sense, who speak value.
Hoes speak sense, right? Like,
yes.
Again,
and they're growing too.
Being a hoe does not degrade you from being a human being. In this case,
true,
right? We're saying hoes are selling pussy, and that is what majority of the men go to Instagram for. So
exactly,
it does not take away the humanity.
But what I'm saying is, it depends on what you're looking for. You as a user. If I'm Isaac, for example, let's say I have 15,000 followers, and I will tell you that every time I post something related to business,
on Instagram,
business or entrepreneurship, I'll get maybe 10 people who like it. But let me post a picture of me in a beach. Hey, the women will come. They do come. Hi, you're lost. Hey, what? Hey. I'm like, that's not me. That's not what I'm trying to communicate. So I realized that, and this is where there was a shift for me, right? That the life I was living, right? Going out, partying. They said that for a guy, every time you go out, you have a lot of money, you're shooting your guys beers and stuff.
Yeah.
In the morning, you become an accountant. Wait, how did I spend this money? How? You start now calculating. I bought this guy a club, I bought this guy a Guinness, I bought this guy a bell. What did the money? You become an accountant. I didn't want that. You hang over and you start calculating. And on Monday, you're thinking, well, I don't have transport to go to work. What am I going to do? I said, no, let me live a boring life. Yes, it will. And these guys were very clear to me when they were mentoring me. They're telling me, the path you're choosing is going to break you a lot mentally. You're going to lose your friends, people you call your friends. You're going to lose, people will never understand you, okay? But on the other side of things, you're going to attract a certain group of people who have been through what you're going through, will guide you and say, I want to do business with this guy at his age, because he understands. I'll tell you, majority of the people I hang out with are people above 50, 60, 70. Lots of people tell me, you're too old, man. I said, no, they understand my mind. If I tell someone, for example, you have a company, good, you have a sales team, good, how much do you spend on your sales team every week? They're telling me 300K. I'm like, okay. If I made it easy for your sales team to be able to convert more leads into sales, and the only thing you'd be spending on is airtime, would that make sense? He does the math, he's only going to spend 30K. It's like, wait, that's a very huge shift from expenses. I'm not going to get more value. Says, show me how to do it. That guy is going to be able to listen to you and trust you and exchange value with you in terms of income, as opposed to someone who says, hey, man, let's go to Chadi and I have nothing wrong against Chadi, but you're going to have a shift in mindset, right? And that life may not be the life that your friends want to be around you with. But when they know you're making money, they'll hang around you.
So,
yeah.
the thing I'm trying to do, the thing I've done for the longest time,
Yeah.
is it's hard to work with friends, right? And the core of it's friends.
Difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah.
I'm making up my mind about it really, if it's
Yeah.
something I really want to continue doing, because it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
But it is because of how work is structured. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how worth is valued. So, because to so many people,
Yeah.
like the issues you raise, I don't want friends that that I go to Chadi with and whatnot, and yet the grand scheme of life are actually these things,
Yeah.
right? When you make money to spend it with your friends.
Yeah.
I even at my I don't want to call it my pickest, because I'm still really so young, right? I am still going to make a lot more money in my life, but at the point I've seen that even when I've had enough money, I'll still look for my friends. They matter the most. So if I can then bridge the gap of work and friendship, and I get that right, then I consider that success. Right?
True.
This is something I've been working on for like since 2013. All my time, by the way.
Yeah.
My first company, my best friend was running it, the juice thing. My best friend Huntington was running it. He was making the juice. He also was making the economics around it. I was just investing in it money and bringing up ideas to it. It was peaked. It was good, right? Friends, family, me, usually that's the thing. My mom was making the juice, my cousins were doing everything to this. The podcast is edited by a friend, it's shot by my friends, partly sponsored by a friend and brother, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is how I want to define my success, is that I spent much more time. This podcast is strictly Big Conversation. I'm like the official producer, dedicated to my child. Yeah, the whole of it. But that is just because that is how I want to define my success. Like, I put in my most work with my friends and family, and that was enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you see, I have seen money and I know I'm going to make a lot of it, but then I also have detached from life. I know you can have money and not have it.
Yeah.
It's more like the same thing. Like that. Like, that is how I want to define success. I don't want to define it by, okay, I believe I can smoke weed with someone and they still give me a multi-million-dollar idea.
Sure.
I have done this with millionaires here.
Yeah.
They're my friends. They still have habits. I don't have a problem with what society constructs as the bad.
Yeah.
Right? I find those just habits people should learn to control and live with. Yeah.
So you mentioned something very interesting, and I was going to come to that. So every quarter, I've infused what you've talked about. You talked about helping your friends and do that from a commercial point of view, but also from what I call a freemium model. Okay, so there are people in my life, okay, that will ask me for anything at weird hour of the night, at a weird time of the day, and I will give it to them. No questions asked. Something I know I'm going to charge for, I will give it to them for free. And I've seen where they are. Most times it's people I've seen want to transition into a certain life, they've made a bad decision, but they want to move on. They want to learn something, right? Last month, I trained 50 people, friends of mine. I trained them on Facebook advertising. I trained them on Google Ads. I trained them on Instagram advertising. I trained them on LinkedIn advertising. I trained them on sales. The training was online from my mentors. They said they were good enough to say, because it's one thing they told us in the war room, that for everything you do, at that point of time, I've been at a near-death experience so many times. When you're at that point you forget about everything. The only image that comes to your mind is the people. Your mother, your father, your family, your friends. That's the only image, that's the only thing that matters. And that's why when people are, God forbid, are going to die, you see them crying. So they're not crying because of the money in the bank account. No. They're crying because, what have I left behind? Am I leaving this person? Is it my time to go? Is it the right time to go? There's so many questions going on. So to infuse what you've just said, yes, there's people in my life who make decisions that I'm not comfortable with. And I speak to them. I even ask them, how are you doing right now? And there's usually a time. I give them time. And someone will come to you and say, I need to learn this. I need to learn this. And I'll give them a training. It's paid for, but I'll say have and training. Why? For me, that is 90% of the success in my life, more than making money. If I'm able to teach someone something and they use it and they give me feedback, maybe after a day or two, even a week or a month, and say, man, that thing helped me a lot. This an unexplainable feeling of happiness you have in your heart, knowing that, yes, you've helped someone, you've not asked for anything, and they've moved this, they've shifted the trajectory in their life, right? That for me is what I would call my legacy. That I realized it wasn't that I was attracting them, but I realized God was communicating me that most of the people who have come to me and said, hey, by the way, I like what you're doing. Can you help me with this? Teenage mothers, most of them. After 3 months, you'd never know. But somehow, you're speaking to someone, there's someone in the background saying, mommy, mommy. Other times, you're going to visit them, you see a guy running around the compound. Like, who is that? That's my son. Like, why are you hiding him from the rest of the world? It's like, I don't want that part of me to
These
go
are the
out
people
there.
who do charities and goodwill services like that, running away from like some guilt, right? Like you decide to take care of like teenage mothers because you left wherever you come from when you
it's not guilt,
left, like,
because I was raised in a very good family. We've never lacked, whether school fees or food. None of us has ever lacked. My parents raised us so well and are still alive. Good, thanks to God. But
both your parents are still alive.
Yeah, they're still alive. So it's not guilt. For me, it's what I was taught by my mom, what I was taught by my dad. My dad even sometimes shocks me and says, hey, guy, go to church on Sunday. I'm like, wait, what? Dad is talking to me like that. Like, it's opened up our eyes to, every time there was a problem at home in the village, we were open to helping people. And Dad would never ask or question why. Mom would never question, she would help, she would support. So they were teaching us something subconsciously while we were growing up, that yes, you have all these things around you, but you need to learn to support those who are less privileged to have what you have, or less privileged to be open to those opportunities. Because I'll tell you that there are people who have left this earth, friends of mine, very extremely wealthy. People are making millions of dollars in Uganda. But a guy will call you to his I don't want to call it a deathbed, but hospital bed, okay? And sit you down and he'll tell you one thing, says, guy, live fully, love openly, go and create change in someone's life. And when the guy passes on, you don't even shed a tear. It shocks you. You're looking at the guy, he's gone, he's there. I've had friends like that, and someone told me you're weird. I've lost friends, I see the guy is going, and he's gone, there and then, and I'm standing there. They remove the oxygen, and the guy is gone, and he's there, and I don't shed a tear, but people around me are crying. And I come out of it, and I go home, we come for burial, no tear. And someone said, why are you like that? I said, because I've been around death a lot. But I know he's in a better place. I know every time I'm moving around or something, these guys are watching me. I'm watching the decisions I'm making. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? And I'm sure you've noticed also that through your goodwill, that there are things that have happened to you. And in your mind, you're like, that's God, right? I know that was God who did that. There are things you didn't expect, you didn't plan for.
How do you know I'm a believer or not?
I didn't say you're a believer, I didn't know, but I'm sure from goodwill. I know it from, that's why I said when you reach a certain level of what I'm doing, where there's alignment, it's no longer about the physical space. It's more of a spiritual realm you're communicating with. It's why, for example, you'll find that I'll vibe more with Apostle Grace than another pastor, because he's speaking something at a certain level of faith that another person will fail to comprehend. There are levels to it. That if I tell someone today that I am not comfortable working with a guy who's going to pay us 1 million shillings a month, he'll say, but you're mad, you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
But what he's not seeing is that that guy has more problems than marketing. Probably his sales team is shit. It's not doing what he wants to do. Probably his finances are not well. He has debts he's trying to fix. Probably his team has the wrong mindset at work. These are guys who wake up on YouTube or watching soaps.
Yeah.
Probably the guy's product is not solving the problems of the market the way it is. And he's looking at you as a solution that fits all. You get? So even on a call with a guy, sometimes you read it, and your mind is telling you, Isaac, you've been here before. You've been here. You cannot. You'd rather have peace of mind than going home at 5, you're on your laptop at 6 up to midnight. Why? Firefighting, right? You'd rather have peace of mind. Yes, I have some money on the side, some money saved, but your spirit is communicating to you. Yes, there are things that have happened to me, and I'm like, wait, how? You question, you're like, is this God really doing? Is someone praying? I even sometimes ask guys, did you pray for me? And sometimes they lie to you. Say, yeah, I've been praying for you. Send us some mobile money. They do that. So there's levels to it. Even with AI, there's levels to it.
I wanted to ask you a question from there. When you talked about sales and marketing, how do you bridge the gap
between sales and marketing?
Yeah.
I usually look at sales first. So everything I do, even when I'm speaking to a prospect, everything I do, I take them through the entire value chain.
Wait, what do you do? Do you do both?
Yeah, I do both. You can't. We are moving into a world where you can't just do marketing. You can't just do sales. You can't just. I was looking at an advert the other day from a bank. I will not say which bank. They were asking for 7 people in one job description. We want someone who's good at lead generation. We want someone who's good at marketing, who has done some graphics. We want someone who's good at sales. We want someone who's good at prospecting, who's good at negotiating. Wait, why? They've noticed, and these are decisions made from the global spilling down, that they've realized we can actually have one person trained to do all.
That's it.
And not pay a huge fee of 10 million, but give this guy 2.5 or 3 million, and he's doing the work. And there are guys I know who are that skilled. He's good at marketing, good at sales, good at graphics, good at editing videos. He's good at shooting. He's good at photography. He's good at proposal writing. There are guys I know who are good at website design. There are guys I know who are good at that. And when a company has a person like that, and the person tries to resign, they even tear the resignation letter. Because they're looking at the cost of training other people to do this guy's work.
I'm looking for someone like that.
Yeah, I'll recommend a few. I'll recommend a few.
For real.
No, but I'll give you AI tools that write proposals.
No, not tools.
No, you will love them. They are free.
So why I need a human being, right?
Yeah.
I'll just take you through the business. So why I actually need the human being is because the proposals, the AI tools, trust me, I sleep in these, I wake up in these, I am doing my own tools.
It depends on which ones you've seen.
I am constructing my own tools. I am constructing some tools with Kenneth around how to effectively. So we're feeding in data to run this. But why the human is very important is because. So we are into the business of production, right? We're Uvotam. We are a production house. We produce web-based content. We are championing into podcasting as really superior because, of course, this big conversation by ordinary people is getting a lot of traction. But we also produce thousands of other podcasts, right? Yeah. Music videos for guys. We have also invested heavily in equipment. And we have the capacity to invest in that. Money is not our issue here. But we want the business to work. So we want someone who can convince. Yeah, we put together a sales strategy, right? We've highlighted who could be our target client, right? Yeah. We've pointed that we've highlighted what they need from us, how much value we can add them. We'll put it all together. Now we need the human aspect version of someone who can go to these companies and then introduce our strategy to them or convince them. In this case, we need like someone who is like a CMO, right? The best way to get business. The first solid business we've still gotten is because I am CMO into some other company. Then I managed to convince them that I'll handle all your content and the direction of the content, right? So that is exactly, I want to get a replication of me into someone else to just convince all these other companies to do the same thing I'm doing, but on a more professional level, to like give it so much time and to be paid for just that.
So you've mentioned something very interesting, but the direction would be wrong if I was to use the same, just use those words. Now, I believe you are using the same strategy that 1,000 other people are using. I'll explain why. I'll explain why. So, exactly what you've mentioned is the same strategy that a CEO or an MD of a company is going to employ. I want to get this, I want to go this, I want to go there. Have you asked yourself a question? Have you asked yourself a question that, where are these guys?
Yeah, I'm looking. Tomorrow, in fact, I'm just going to talk to my graphics designer to do the banner of hiring.
Question.
Two things, yeah.
Have you asked yourself a question, why guys play golf very early in the morning? No. Do you know that those guys pay about, if it's Uganda Golf Club,
600,000.
I may be wrong. No, it's actually way more than that.
1.2 or 600.
It's way more
Membership
than that.
is 600.
Way more than
I
that.
am a member to Uganda Golf Club.
Okay. There are guys who are paying, and I have it on record. There's a guy who paid up
I have
north.
just never renewed my subscription, but I paid 600 for membership.
There's a guy who paid up north of $10,000.
What?
In the golf club. Yes. There's another guy who's paying $15,000 in Entebbe Golf Club. I know the guys. And these are the guys you want to work with, right?
Yeah.
They are paying this money to go and play golf. They're not playing golf. They are cracking deals on the golf course. So ask yourself a question. How can you get closer to that guy?
By paying $15,000?
No, you don't. Exactly. You don't pay. This is where I was taking you to. That the guys you want, okay, you have to treat both sides of the coin. They're what you call high net worth individuals you're looking to work with. But sometimes the guys who have access to them are the guys at the bottom of the pyramid. The guy you want to be in touch with, who's going to introduce you to the CEO. Sometimes the guys who speak to the CEOs are not the marketing managers and everything.
Yeah.
It's the guy who cleans every day. He knows all the secrets. True. So how can you get closer to that guy every day? That's the strategy I'm trying to employ.
Here's the guy I want.
Yeah.
I don't want the guy who can introduce me to the CEO.
Yeah.
I consider myself a very well networked person. Like,
yes.
I get into every single room I want to get into.
Yeah.
Like, that is not my problem.
Yeah.
My problem is I want a guy who's going to show the CEO the value of my my product.
Now here's something my
in terms of returning business investment to the CEO. Look,
here's something. You have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think of looking for that guy. I would use the podcast.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I've thought about that. So
stop thinking. Here's what I would do. You produce this content every day. Have you just decided to run an ad targeting only the CEOs of those companies? It's a brilliant strategy. A friend of mine in South Africa.
That's what I'm going to. That's what I've planned. To run the ad.
Just focus on the CEOs, and it may sound rude, but the people you start even inviting to your podcast should speak the language or speak to things that appeal to those guys. At some point in time, it's a difficult thing because there are those who say, "But why did he invite this guy? He's talking about sex." But it's what your audience wants to listen to. But now you have two people. You have to find a way of balancing it. How do you create content that speaks to the mind of that guy? It may be boring, but how do you find a balance between the two? If I were you, I have this content going on, right? I'll share something with you called the Content Multiplier framework by a friend of mine called Peng Jun. He said, just shoot a video like this, just one video, and break it down into pieces of content. Because guess what? Everywhere these guys go, every platform. Now that people say, I don't want a LinkedIn channel. But people are now on LinkedIn, right? I don't want a Clubhouse channel. Many CMOs and CEOs are on Clubhouse, quietly listening to conversations and getting funding from Clubhouses. There are people who are saying, I don't want to go to Telegram, it's for sex. There are CEOs I know who are on Telegram, speaking to guys who are not on WhatsApp, or not on Facebook, or not on Twitter, not on Instagram, but are on Telegram for a reason. Because you're saying it's more secure than all these other platforms. So guess what? When you start producing this content and breaking it down into bricks of content to these other platforms, I'm telling you, these guys do research before they come to do business with you. They'll say, wait, this guy is what he's saying consistent across the board of what he's saying across all these channels? I need to check. They do check. Sometimes they'll come to you after 6 months, even 12 months. But to get to them now, here's a trick. Do more presentations than proposals.
Okay.
More presentations. Do a video or a webinar showing them exactly strategies. You can do workflows online, right? Do a workflow, show them, by the way, when you get here, you do this, this is the result you're going to get. The people were interested in workflows as opposed to proposals because they get thousands of proposals every day. Thousands. And they're tired. For me, at this point, I don't even need to write a proposal anymore. I just say, let's get on a Zoom call. I show you what I can do. I show you the results I've gotten. Because testimonials are your way to breaking through the ice. They have questions. Will this
Testimonials
work?
or conversions?
Testimonials. Testimonials from previous customers, right? When you've worked with someone from the past.
Retarget marketing.
Yeah. They were like, okay, this has worked for so-and-so. I know this company. It shows that you have actually what you're doing is right. Then writing a proposal of what you're going to do, show them what you've done and the result you've gotten.
So as a digital marketer, how have you managed to convert strategy to sales?
Most of it has been webinars.
How?
Webinars.
Also,
I do a webinar.
This is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Say you just give me a pinpoint of your projects, the projects you've worked on.
So I wouldn't say because I have NDAs with some of these guys, but what has happened is
like product. Give me a product you've sold.
A product I've sold.
Or you've designed a digital marketing strategy for.
I've sold education, high net worth.
Okay.
Yep.
So what was the goal here? What was your KPI?
The guy needed 2,000 students.
2,000 students.
Tuition.
Great. Now the question here is, how did your strategy convert to a student paying in the bank?
So I looked at the guy's online assets. Okay, so this is a guy who is spending $80,000 a month. I will not say it's a university in Uganda. We're spending $80,000 a month on marketing. And it wasn't working out. You're saying I'm spending about 250 million, right? I'm only seeing 5 million back as an ROI, right? So he was asking a question: how do I get that 250 million and produce 500 or more? So I said, let's look at your online assets, right? When we did an audit of his website, realized
Focus.
there was no. First of all, there were no conversion plugins in there. It was just a simple website with pictures and stuff like that. So we said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a pre-qualification form, right? Pre-qualification form, it will ask the name of the person, name of the student, phone number, location, country, if they're able to afford the tuition fee, if they're interested in coming to study, and things like. It was a very long pre-qualification form. That was one. Two, we said we're going to look at your socials also. We're going to just focus on one channel, Instagram. And we said we're going to drive traffic from Facebook to Instagram, because the kind of students you wanted are international students. Most of them are on their phones, and we said, okay, the people who pay the fees, where are they spending most of their time? Google. So we're going to run a Google ad as well with the form. We didn't say we're going to run a Google ad. I see people doing posters, banners, which people cancel all the time, which is a waste of money for me, if you ask me. So let's just put up a form and let guys fill in. What we're doing was generating leads. We generated about 10,000 leads of people. Now, why you said, how do I merge it to marketing and sales?
Yeah.
The first mistake he made was he hired interns to make the calls. Interns were in the university to make the calls. And he said, man, I've got nothing. And I said, we need to listen to those calls. Can you take us to?
The call center.
No, it was just a room, not really a call, to the room where this guy's actually making calls. And we figured out, the person says, hey, are you interested? The guy just hangs up the phone.
Yeah.
Saying, no, you need professionals who have actually done this stuff. So we got our stuff, and to speak, we managed to get 2,500 students out of the 15,000. And we told him, for the next year, don't advertise. We're going to use the same list. Of the ones who said, I'm not yet ready, we are going to recall them back. That guy fired, at the time he had a marketing manager from Colombia. I know they could be listening to this, but she asked for a budget of 80,000 and she was not even able to deliver 6 million shillings. So the problem wasn't the campaign, the problem came down to the conversions. When we said let's get guys who are ready, we asked them, yes, you filled out a form on this, because it would show you, where have you seen this message from? From a Google ad, I've seen it from Instagram, I've seen it from the website. Where did you see it? Said, I've seen it from the website. So then get on the call. We saw you filled in the form from the website. The person said, yes, I've seen the form. Are you interested? When can you come for a free interview? Because selling on the phone it's not a guarantee that the person will transact. You need them to come physically to see the place. And most of them came through. So that's just one way we did that. And it was a documented case study. But again, I will not mention the university.
All right. Yeah. So some bits of this podcast, we already covered some sense of like legacy.
Yeah.
See, so now because this is again marketing, And now I feel like I have so much to share. I also let you ask some bits of questions.
So what are you how are you producing this at the end of the day?
What do you mean producing?
So let me give an example. I have a friend, and I'll share the name with you. What this guy does is he'll have a 1 hour interview, 30-minute interview, and break it down into 40-50 pieces of content. Is that something you've thought about?
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
It comes naturally. Now let me just give you like so I already told you, right? This whole thing is, to me, dedication to my child.
Yeah.
That's the prime core. So I want to talk to anyone. I believe anyone has experiences they can share.
Yeah.
But in there is, so because it's again mambo jumbo, we're trying to construct a solid program from it.
Yeah.
We are experimenting a lot. So we talk right from industry experts to just guys who just have an opinion from their perspective to life. So how people consume it, it's more like a Joe Rogan conversation. Yeah. We put everything up there on the internet, then we distribute differently. So we distribute TikTok, we distribute Twitter, we distribute Facebook, we distribute on Instagram in bits of clips, right? Now we've introduced chapters on YouTube where in this whole conversation, it can be then broken down for the consumer to understand what parts they want to only listen to. The parts where we're talking about AI, the parts where we're talking about humanity, or maybe parts where we're talking about social network. So the chapters on YouTube can help the consumer dissect only what they want to consume from the conversation. So that's it. And audio, really, guys, I'm saying we can use the podcasts to rival the music.
Have you thought about transcribing the content from audio to blog?
No. People are not good readers. If people are not...
That's the mindset out there. But if you're going to target the... Say I'm a CEO, right? I want to do business with you. I don't have time to watch, right? I'm saying this because there is...
You'll have time to listen.
Yeah. I would have time to listen, but also, if I don't have time to listen, I may want to read. In my free time. I've met people like that in Muyenga and Munyoni, right? He has time. The guy says, man, Isaac, I don't have time to read this book. Can you find for me a solution? And I'm like, there's something called Blinkist, right? I can summarize an entire book into an audio and
I feel like that's easier, right?
Yeah.
Book to audio.
No, there's actually audio to book.
Like it can happen, I can do that. But I'm saying, what are the chances that you will rather choose to read than listen?
So what I'm trying to show you to achieve is that in that script, okay, there's platforms like Loom. I don't know if you use Loom, right?
No.
Yeah, try it out. It's a platform where you showcase your authority on a subject, on a skill. You record it, then you put it online. So actually I use mostly for my YouTube. I get into an AI, I master it, I take people through it, I record. But I discovered the other day that while you're doing the explanations, it's also writing down for you automatically. Pure, you don't even need to edit. I was telling a Rotary Club the other day that they were like, we need to record presentation, not just video, but also text that people want to read. And I was like, there's a free tool for that. I think it's called tldv.io, something like that. That you just attach it to your Zoom, have a meeting, and it's going per person who's speaking. It's doing a script. Then there's someone who wants to. There are people, I'm told, in those circles who just want to read. High net worth people, right? So what I'm trying to show you is that don't just focus on the high net worth guy or focus on another. There are other sectors of people you're leaving out. It's the same thing. It's the same mistake I see guys making in our space. They say we only want to target 3% of the audience who have money. What happens to the 97%? You see, someone will say, I'm not yet ready to buy. Does that mean I was having a conversation with a salesperson the other day. Said, this person said they're not interested, they're not ready. I said, does it mean you kick them out? There's something called follow up and follow through. That when you follow up with this person for a certain period of time, they come through for you. They're like, I've been seeing your thing over 6 months, 12 months, but now I'm ready.
Yeah.
You need to appeal to those guys. Yes, you may appeal to a guy who consumes video, but what about a guy who can't view? He'll listen. What about a guy who can't view and listen, but has eyes? He will want to read. And also I've seen that your videos are out there, but have you thought about subtitles for guys who can't hear? Have you thought about guys who want to just watch, and it's something I've started integrating into most of my videos? Add
the subtitles.
Yeah, and there's tools that do that freely.
Yeah, but YouTube right now does it freely, right? When you go to YouTube to watch this conversation.
Yeah. But also how you there's the art of subtitles. There are subtitles that are just uniform. One color, one word, those are boring. We've discovered through tests. I don't know if you've seen subtitles that highlight the words being spoken to. Those are actually the best. They're captivating. Yeah.
The fact that I don't watch movies with subtitles, I feel like the people
you're not your target audience. Exactly. But the other thing you could introduce to your podcast is photography.
How do you mean?
Like, for example, we are seated
Glenn is supposed to take pictures. Glenn, come take pictures.
We're supposed to be doing this, but you're taking photography. Mm-hmm. Now, that photography is going to appeal to the audience, mostly on Instagram, mostly on Pinterest, mostly on Flickr. They consume more pictures. The algorithm plays around with pictures and videos more than with long text. Yeah. You see that? So, like I said, I'll introduce you to the content multiplier. Like, this guy realized just shooting.
Wait, what does the multiplier do?
So the multiplier talks about, I have a video. He shoots a video, right? Then he has just one software. I think it's called Ask Thomas or Meet Edgar. It's called Meet Edgar, right? Mm. What Meet Edgar does is it picks out all the content and breaks it down into pictures, breaks it down into audio, breaks it down into scripts, short and long. Then it will tell you this one will go this one, and it's expensive because it does that work. But it does the work for you, right? It puts everything where it's supposed to be. And the guy figured out he could be on every platform, but he's speaking to a certain mind at a certain time. So his customers will tell you, and here's the brilliant thing he did. He has a high ticket programs, and he has low ticket. Because he figured out the guys were saying, man, I only have $10. What do I do? Do you chase them away? There are 1,000 people with $10. You can't refuse that money. So what do? Accept it, but the guys will tell you, I have $10,000 for your program, and they're only two. You take them, appeal to them. So your solutions should appeal to both audiences. There's a guy, one of my mentors. He keeps on testing things and tells me every day I learn something new. I change my website. Every day I learn something new. I change my content strategy. I said, why? Because I need to appeal to the different mindset of the different customers. So he has programs for high net worth guys and those for low ticket. He will tell you, for low ticket, give them a free for a month to consume. It's a podcast, it's a masterclass. For the high net worth guys, he's having one-on-ones with them. He'll even say, come to my home, let's go to a hotel. Of course, they're getting different stuff from these guys. But when these guys go through what he's teaching them, through the masterclass and see the value, someone will say, no, I'm going to sell off my car. I need to get into that because what this guy is going to share with me is going to save me the headache and expenses that the bad decisions I'm making to get in. So you could have content that speaks to all because, again, things are changing very fast. I'll tell you the number of mentors I have. Yeah. Some of them have bought AI companies. Not like investing, have bought. And the guy puts it aside because he says, Isaac, the way this thing is moving, I used to have a team of 10. Now I have a team of 1. You get? Used to have a content creator, director, I don't know, a filmmaker, yes, all these guys, scriptwriters, copywriters, website designers, funnel hackers, what? Says now I have just one person. I don't know if you've heard of, what's this thing called? ClickFunnels.
No.
ClickFunnels is a guy who sat down and said, I need a website to do sales for me, right? It's not just building a website and having it stand alone. He built a website that could actually sell to you long term. It had templates, it had follow-up emails. You just bought the thing, plugged it in your system, and it will sell to you. Every day it's sending you a reminder even on your phone. It's trying to sell to you something. A ClickFunnels is very expensive. It's about $297, right? Per month. There's another guy in Ireland who introduced something called Ultra Funnels. And he said, why should you pay $297 per month when you can buy one of... I did the math. I'm like, man, let me invest into this thing. So I bought an Ultra Funnel account, meaning I can build a website with my Ultra Funnels account for so many clients, okay? And it will do sales for them. But guess what? They'll have to pay me more for the knowledge I have, as opposed to paying 3 guys, for example, every year for 3 years. I need to design my website differently. Because then with a ClickFunnels, I don't need to have a salesperson. No. I just need to have somebody who's following up on the leads that are coming in. The idea behind ClickFunnels was, if a person visits my website, immediately it captures your name and email, and it starts selling to you over a 12-week, 14-week period. You choose. Every industry you choose, right? The other guy is saying, let me build your website. And we leave it there. And then they'll come and say, this guy built me a website, but I don't see the value of it. What is coming, like I mentioned earlier, that there's a guy who will tell you, can you make my website look good? Subconsciously, he's telling you, can you make it look good so that it attracts customers? Yeah. You see, so you have to find a balance between both. It's like when you're dating a girl, you don't just date, go have sex and say that is it. No, try to ask yourself, is there something else unique about her that she can add value to me, or a household or a business, as opposed to say, let me just go date her, see where it goes, until she starts asking for, they call it what, chimeza money, you start chasing her away. No. So you need to find a balance between both. Even for the content of the podcast, you need to figure out, how do you appeal to different audiences that are watching? There may be a guy who's seeing your podcast and skipping it on Twitter. How do you get that guy's attention? Could it be? Yeah, no, that's what you're saying right now. I've gotten guys whom I thought I would never need.
No, like, look.
But it connects me to the CEO of Upside.
The goal for me, the podcast,
Yeah.
dedication to my child.
Exactly.
My child grows up, listens to the conversations I'm having. Like, I appreciate the guys, right? I need to present numbers to advertisers for me to make business. But the content, I want it to be, I've chased guys with their money. It's quite a number.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention the brands because now I'm trying to work with them, but they've approached me about coming on, and they've wanted to stamp their products around, and you're like, okay. No.
But you see, now that's where your expertise comes in, because some of them are doing it wrong. You see, these guys present beautiful proposals to their bosses and say, hey, by the way, we can put out a Google ad, we can put out this on this guy's podcast. Ask them a question. Is that what you want to achieve? You see, there are people who put out, I don't want to make it look bad for them. There are people who put out adverts, okay? Yeah. But it's because they've been told by their teams, this is what you need to do. But how do you measure that? That's the question. How do you measure that? Sometimes I fear to share strategy because I know sometimes it's difficult. How do you measure brand? How do you measure brand's thoughts and feelings and how people feel about it out there? There are tools to do that nowadays online. Don't need to hire a research firm, or I'm not making them look bad or anything, but don't need to hire a research firm to do surveys and stuff like that. There are tools that can show you. I did a survey the other day with a team online and said, what do you think can be done, to improve this? Do you like this? Guys were sharing, and a beautiful report came out. And the guys were like, man, we paid 40 million shillings to so-and-so to do for us this. And I'm like, okay, you paid 40 million shillings because you didn't know. You see that? Now you know. Okay? But you need to fight to figure out, yes, there are guys who want to come to your podcast to advertise, but ask them, is this going to help you meet your targets, your revenue targets? That's the first question usually. Because when you hit your revenue targets, you can pay salaries and stuff like that. But also, who is your target market? Ask them, do you think these guys are actually
listening in?
No, not listening in, but are actually clicking on that ad. And even after they click, what next? You see that? You need to know data. Data is king. Most people just say, let's do it because.
It has to be done.
Because it has to be done, or because another house is doing it, or another competitor is doing it. But you have to ask yourself, what's the impact on the business? Always find ways of measurements, of measuring that data. Yeah.
So for you in this case, where is the biggest problem? Is it in the planning, in the execution, or in the strategy?
No, it's not even in all of those. For me, I think it's in what we are consuming, right? I feel we are the sources of information, right? I don't want to say the schools are giving us bad information, but I think they're not updated. Okay? Way back, I used to go knocking door to door. Now I just sit on my laptop, punch in a name, punch in a company, and I get email addresses of whoever is in that company, right? Phone numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
And the question is, why aren't schools teaching this stuff? Why aren't curriculums teaching this stuff? Which is why you asked me about smartness of international kids. And I'll tell you, when you go to the schools and sit down, they're not teaching them the same stuff, the history that they're teaching our kids. No, it's updated stuff. I was at, I won't name the school, but it's along Bukoto there. And the questions felt like general paper. What is the implication of so-and-so's tax evasion, blah, blah. The thing just happened 2 days ago. I'm like, why are they teaching these kids this stuff right now? and the other kids are being taught about Mau Mau rebellion. Like, there was a big shift. My mind was like, okay, now I understand why these guys are paying a lot of money to these kids. Because these kids are going to say, wait, I've seen this thing on TV, and they go and, you find a kid of 3-4 years sitting on CNN. It questions everything you know about kids, right? You're like, they're supposed to be watching Teletubbies or cartoons, but they're on CNN. Why? It's an assignment in the book. They're supposed to know that stuff and write down. Why? They're activating their brains. There's, I don't know if you remember, the simple science we went through. There's what you call the alpha, beta, theta, gamma, and right? They're activating those in their brains. Mm-hmm. Then these are the guys who are being taught about the other stuff. So what the parents are actually paying for is brain simulation as opposed to education.
But in this case, do you feel like the investment into education, say when you invest in an international school, do you get return on investment?
You do.
I've not seen that happen. There is that plastic surface debate of a lot of cats invest in international school, then have their children do the grading, they go out, they go ahead and get the degrees, right? And then they're unemployable. They need to come back home.
The ones that are unemployable are mostly those that have been spoon-fed. Go to school. I have discovered there's like two different categories of kids that go to international school. There are those who rebel. So now you're teaching us the wrong stuff. There are those ones. Their minds are shifting towards entrepreneurship. Okay? There is a girl at Quality Chemicals. She finished international school. She's Ugandan. She went to the US, finished and all that. But she came back. But she's questioning I spoke to her one time at one of the fairs. She questions every decision the marketing guy makes. And that got me thinking, wait, this girl is actually smart. The guy was saying, she was telling the guy, look, we don't need to put our products on the big screen TVs and all that. Few people will come through. She told the guy, just bring a pad, right? Put the pad on the iPad on the table with a click to register. And the guy said, but for him was looking at making more money, purchases and all that. And her idea was very brilliant. Whenever you go to the table, you wouldn't just want to pick flyers. She said, no, don't put flyers. Let me speak to the person, and they leave us the information there. At the end of the day, she told me she had 60 people who had registered. Out of the 60, they were doing business with 10. And guess what? She replaced the other dude. Mindset again. So it brings, there's a question you asked, I forget again. But the investment usually may be seen long term, not in the short run. Long term later on, not in the short run.
Yeah, long term or not done. I'm saying with the experience we've seen, right?
Yeah.
If I invested into guys invest, right? Guys become lawyers, then they spend their first 10 years making 800,000. That is money I make. That is money I spend on where I job from, right? So because they pay me per hour, like any other guy.
Yeah.
So, but because I'm giving them a skill, direct skill, I'm helping them understanding behaviors, I'm helping them understanding their data, and I'm coming up with strategies, and I'm helping them form their nightlives and whatnot, right? To give them experiences. So they are paying for that. I did not have my dad invest into a marketing degree. Yeah. This is stuff like I learned online and whatnot. But the guys who went and studied and they've become say lawyers or whatnot, and they're getting like 800,000, right? I find it's peanuts. Guys online say it's peanuts. But that is the society they operate in. This is what people are paid around here. 800,000 to how much they have invested in school for 16 years does not make sense at all, right?
Do you remember when I said...
It's stupid for me to make that money.
Do you remember when I said you're paid for the value you bring to the marketplace, not your time? The difference in what you're saying is that, let me just give a typical example. There's a reason someone is paid 400K. The person's job is just to make calls. Okay? Now, if I came to that company, I can make calls. I can generate the lead. I can write the proposal. I can go out and pitch and win the business. I can also design a website. I can also go out and look for potential
prospect
businesses that the ED is looking out for. There's no reason as to why I will not be given 5 million as opposed to the guy. In other words, when they say the value that you paid for is the difficulty of the problem that you're solving is what you paid for. If you're easy to be replaced, you'll be paid less. If it's difficult right now, typical example, look at the CEO of MTN. She's doing an amazing job. Very amazing. Sylvia.
Yeah.
I mean, she's doing an amazing job.
How can you measure her job when she's just like 3 months on the job, right?
No, that's not 3 months. More than that right now.
But it's no more than 8 months.
It's not more than 8 months.
She doesn't have any recommendable progress.
She has struck strategic partnerships, and she has reopened some partnerships that went silent. Most people,
like which ones? Cite examples.
I'm not going to say that on the podcast, but I follow them because they are partners, right? On where we work, they are partners, and I'll tell you that it's my job to follow up on partners and competitors. I do that a lot. If anything funny is going on, I report to hey, by the way, guys, this is what is going on with our partners. Let's change strategy here, because it's going to save them time they could have taken to invent or innovate a product when these guys are not aligned. You get, so I follow up. I see most people will say, for example, she's taking pictures with so and so. As we're seeing something else, she's initiating a relationship with so and so. She's meeting key partners that she's supposed to work with in the industry that also could introduce her to other people she has no access to. You get it? So immediately she's going to hit her revenue targets, but who are those people who meet the cap that will help her hit her target? So what will she do? Go and meet so and so, take a picture. Why? Someone will say, I wanted to meet this person. She has access. Let me go. She's doing that in the public eye. People think it's just PR. No, it's a strategic move. It's part of corporate governance to do that, right? And they don't see it as that. They'll say, these guys are just taking pictures. But to answer your question, you're paid, the amount of money you paid is for the difficulty or the complexity of the problem you solve, as opposed to someone who does something that is easy or can be outsourced to someone else to do, right? An engineer, a telecom engineer is paid the money he wants to be paid, as opposed to a guy who's going to clean floors, because anyone can clean floors. But no one can go and fix the servers when the thing is down, right? It's the complexity of the problem you solve.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of legacy are you trying to leave behind? That's a tough
one. One, for my family, I'd love them to be comfortable. I don't want them to lack. The way I've grown up, we've not lacked anything. Right, even at this age, we don't lack anything. Dad sometimes passes home and says, hey, by the way, I brought you some fruit from the village and stuff like that. Even when you have, right, he will give you. I don't want them to lack. It's something that I'd like to pass on to the next generation. So I work extremely hard.
Do you have children already?
No, not yet. And people keep asking me why. But when I see the way things are moving, I'd rather spend more time creating assets and all that, so that when the child comes, I don't have to struggle, right? The market is going to have a dip. Again, it's going to have a very big dip. And when you talked about goodwill, right? Did you know that the goodwill you provide to the people around you, even when you don't have money and they don't have money, but you're able to provide to them, comes back to you during that time? Did you know that, for example, during the pandemic, Tesla was making more revenue than it was right now?
Why?
People were buying more cars during the pandemic.
What was the goodwill he did in this case?
It wasn't goodwill he did, but he came out to say, we've for every Tesla that has an issue, we're going to replace it without pay. So someone said, wait, what? I need to buy it now because I'm anticipating when the lockdown is removed, the price will go up, which it did. It didn't actually go up, but people bought more Teslas. Did you know that people consumed more soft drinks, especially Coca-Cola, during the pandemic than now? The data is there. Why? Because these guys have been able to provide value day in day. It's a lot of money. I know for a fact these guys spend a shitload of money in advertising. Even in Uganda here with the media houses.
Yeah, Coca-Cola really has.
In Coca-Cola, the telecoms.
But it's also a $1 trillion company, right?
Yes, but consistently, if you're able to get that business in.
If I'm operating with $1 trillion, I have a consistent marketing budget.
Yeah, consistent, yeah, but you have to understand that they're looking at the long term, not the short run. It's the reason as to why there's soft drink companies I won't mention, they tried to come in and copy and died after 6 months. Because they need to understand that what they're trying to build is top of mind. It's not sales. It's just top of mind. That Coca-Cola does not sell the soda. What do they sell?
They sell the experience.
Exactly. They're selling experience, not the soda. Uber is not selling houses. Uber is not selling cars.
Yeah, but Uber is shit. in general.
To you.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed Uber rides, not in Uganda, in Kenya though, not here. Yeah,
I'm saying even the business concept,
in Kenya,
I don't feel like
But you see, these guys figured out a problem and said, wait, can I create something to remove that headache from someone? Someone said, oh, this guy is tired of going to watch movies in the cinema. Can I create a streaming service where they can watch movies? Someone said, this person is tired of booking hotels. Which are far. Can I have someone put their house on an app and they book? So they create, and which is why I think innovators get it wrong, that we create something we believe appeals to us, not the general public, not the mass market. Okay? I believe, I thought about two ideas the other day, and I was sharing with my MD, like, I've seen a gap in the market that other people are doing in the US, no one is exploiting in Uganda. This is a mass problem. Can we exploit it? Say, okay, think about the resources, time, energy, how much to create to go that angle, and how we would get this. I said, no, we don't even need to spend on marketing. I know where the guys who will consume this stuff are. We just need to do presentations to them, and online, not physical meetings, online. So we need to figure out, for your podcast, for example, think about, can this go beyond Uganda? Can it go to Africa? Can it go to the US? Can it go to the UK? Why? There are people, I'm sure, have listened to your podcast and are saying, well, this is a brilliant young man. How do you support him?
True. So to just give you a heads up on that, we are expanding, right? So the podcast has 3 hosts. Yeah. There's a host outside
I've seen another guy. I keep on wondering.
He's also your OB.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. There's that guy, the tech guy. Then there's a chick, the spiritual chick, who hosts.
Why do you call her spiritual chick?
And she's going to hate me for
yes.
This. So yeah. She's a doctor though. So there's Dr. Maya who hosts from California, right? Okay. So what she does, she speaks to. We feel like there's a big gap between Africans living in the diaspora, and how they blend in with Africans here, right? And how they talk to having conversations, like trying to relate traditions and culture and whatnot. So that is the aspect she's bringing to the podcast with a totally different audience. So like I told you, it has now segments even on YouTube. So there are those audio versions that don't get anywhere, that are just going to the European market, and that's that. But I told you, with the funding, until maybe it's Adidas, right, where they're giving us heavy checks.
By the way, I've just got even another idea.
I'm going to chase so many of them.
Have you thought about having this done like on a Twitter space?
No, I've thought about it, but I don't want to do it on the Twitter space. So this is not news, right? This is a podcast. I want there is us trying to like rival music with conversations, right? So we want people to look out for what they want to listen to in their own convenience. But Twitter space means you have to like go into the whole influencing guys until there's a specific time, then grow that following for that specific time. So that's what, but I can have conversations with you and publish any other time.
Did you know that Twitter spaces can be pre-recorded?
Okay.
And people listen too. Where I'm taking you is there's a time, one of the opposition leaders, I think Bobby Wine, hosted a live when Facebook was still put down. I think it's still, sometimes I think it's on, sometimes I think it's off. He hosted a live on Facebook when it was put down, and people thought he was live. It was actually recorded. There are services where you can record this, okay, and make it look live on all platforms. StreamYard, for example, or Restream, right? Are platforms that allow this. You put a fully recorded thing and people get to listen and watch. So as it's you can relive experiences or relive a podcast, right? On all these online platforms, and people get to log in, and as it's going on, you're actually responding. As people asking questions on one app, it's responding to YouTube, it's responding to Twitter, it's responding to Facebook as it's going live. So people think the conversation is live, but it was actually recorded a year ago, and they're like, wow, we just listened to this guy, and I've actually used it for some people.
Well, I'll try that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. You can actually record it and put it out. Just check out Restream. Yeah. Check out StreamYard.
I am going to check this one.
They did it for Michael Jackson and Tupac in the US, but it was with a hologram where Snoop Dogg was performing with both, and it looked so real. But it was a hologram of past experiences, and it was a whole
the same thing Kanye West did for the ex-wife.
Yeah.
To bring back her dad, I think.
Yeah. So it's I mean, people have not so I keep telling people that, not to be rude, but people have not even explored 5% of the digital marketing space in Uganda. Not yet. There's a lot out there that I feel hasn't yet been touched, and for good reason. People are keeping their stuff. I've seen some of the plans, strategies that guys are doing right now in the US. Most digital marketers or guys who train people on how to generate leads in business are buying companies for a reason that sometimes you try to help someone, a business owner, and you can't. Like, there's no way. So what do you do? Tell a guy, hey, let me look at your books. Are they good to go? I'm giving you 100K USD. Take it or leave it. The guy says, no, everything is here. That's it. The business is yours. The tax books and everything is clean. And guess what? You're able to turn those businesses around and make a huge profit. It's just something with the billionaires in Nigeria. The guy comes to you, listens to you, looks at your books, the strategy, marketing, and everything, and says, "I want to buy your business." There was a unicorn in Nigeria that was bought. I forget the name, but it was they used to hire tech guys and everything to do business, to do work for the guys abroad. These guys looked at the strategy and said, "We like the idea. We want to buy off the company." They gave the guy a check he could not refuse, and he said, "Man, it's all yours." And guys are making money like that. Guys are getting billionaires like that. Create a company
and resell.
Yeah, resell and.
Speaking of which, you've been mentioning on the fact that you're investing in 15 companies.
Yeah.
How are you doing it? Are you crowdsourcing the funds?
No. So
are you just rich? Are you a trust fund baby?
I do not want to be beaten on my way home. So yes, sometimes you do make money from consulting, speaking to people and stuff like that, and it's just they're doing nothing, right? So, there are always opportunities online. There are groups, there are platforms. You go and listen to guys pitching and stuff, and you're like, yeah, I like this idea. Let me invest in the company. But of course, as a silent investor, you don't want to come out and, stuff like that. Guys can kill you for stuff, things like that. But also, if you like the idea, you like the company, you buy it off. Just buy it off and let it be there. Every time there's always going to be an opportunity.
Where are you getting the money to buy it? The company's off.
I cannot say. You buy it off the company.
Those are the most interesting questions. Because buying, everyone likes to buy, but we want the story of how you make the money to start.
Like I said earlier on, for me right now, my strategy is into real estate. Build as much as possible, have that money come through, and you reinvest it into other things. Agriculture, same thing. People get money from agriculture and spend it on drinking and stuff like that. I'd rather use that money for other things. Consulting, of course. Get that money. Don't buy in, fancy stuff and things like that. Reinvest it, right? So most of the money I get, I do reinvest to make sure that I'm getting at least somewhere I know that these assets are going to make money for me in the future.
YOLO, FOMO seem to be your biggest enemies.
Who?
So you fear missing out.
No.
Don't
it's not even
want
about
to live
that.
Once.
There are things I've missed out on.
No, you don't fear missing out, actually.
No,
that's what I can say.
Yeah,
you don't fear missing out, right?
But sometimes there are things that pass you and you're like, wait, how? I've pleaded with an IT company, an app company, up to now they refuse to listen to me. But I know they'll one day say yes. It's a brilliant idea. It's a very brilliant idea. I think the guy just had his own marketing strategy wrong. So I told him, I want shares into the business. I can turn this around. And I proved it. We also did a case study with Blinkist, the one I told you about, where they convert books into audios. And
I've actually used Blinkist, right?
Yeah. So we did a case study with them and told them, we can do this thing for Africa. They said, no, Africa is not our market. We said, let's try it out. We got 2,000 CEOs to sign up. And we told them, want shares into the company? They went sign it. Up to now. So, there's things like that. You do case studies and guys are shocked. Okay, this thing works, but we can't have a black guy investing. Yeah, this is racism in it. A lot of racism.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you so much for having me.
The podcast. You definitely should come back again. I'll
Thank you.
construct this again. Thank you.
Yeah.
This has been great, man. Thank you.
Thank you.